All right, everybody, so we are working on a Chevy Cobalt hood today. You can see here we've got a couple dents that are definitely nice sized. One of them, this one right here, is underneath of a brace, and the other one here is out in the open. So it's a nice couple nice little deep, almost reminds you of like a golf ball shot. Take a look at them in our light as well. But these will be the two that we're going to be taking out today on the oil can tutorial. Also going to be going into shrinking the core of the damage. We're going to be going into light placement and quite a few other things. All right, everybody, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this tutorial here, and we're going to start with the one that's actually out in the open. As you can see here, it is a decent sized dent. It's about, would remind you of a golf ball hitting the panel or a decent sized hail dent. What we're going to be using here is the Mark Circus. It is a 36-inch PDR finesse tool. Now the tips do not get much sharper than this, so we're going to talk a little bit about shrinking. We're going to be doing this with a close fog. I want to be able to see the interior and the bottom of the dent. At least at the beginning of the repair, just so I know I can actually concentrate that core and begin pushing it up so it will absorb into the surrounding panel. We've got to remember that's why dents oil can. It's because the bottom is so strong and so tight in the core, in the center of that dent, the deepest impact point, that it does not want to absorb in the surrounding panel. So that's why we use the stability technique. Now on this specific one here, I'm actually going to go ahead and shoot a prop rod up from the ground. We do have the hood bolted down. We also have a rope ratchet ratcheting the hood down on the front. So we're going to go ahead and test that out. I have not used the prop rod method on a hood, so I've only used it on roofs. This will be a first here, and I want to test it out with you today. So let's go ahead and jump in here and get started. All right, everybody, so as you can see here, my prop rod is leaving a nice little high spot right near the dent. And the one thing that you're going to notice immediately that there is no flexing in the panel. Otherwise, other areas really have a lot of flex on them and you can push them. Right here where the prop rod is snugged up to it, it almost feels as if it's as tight as a rail. And that's kind of what you're going for. You want it real nice and tight in the center of the damage. You can see here that I am using the big end. It's snugged up right next to the impact point. And I've got this one driven just from the floor. So got it on the floor up here. We're nice, we're set up. A little thing that you want to note here, when you do get this set up done, basically once you get it nice and snugged up here, you want to extend it down here with your hands, tightening it to the panel. So if that makes sense there, actually when you get it snugged up there, just extend it out like you're almost trying to lift the hood up. And it should look just like this. Just a real nice subtle high spot in the panel. Again, designed to create stability. This right here is my setup. We do have our S-hook O-ring tool here. Going to be using that on the edge of the panel. Got the circus tool, got a chair. We have our prop rod up here. I have my close fog right here. This light. It's going to show me where I can actually look down into the interior of the dent. I can see the entire bottom. The closer I bring that fog, the more I can actually see it casting all the way through the deepest part, the bottom of the dent. Now it looks smaller because we don't see how far it's stretched out when we have a close fog, but this is going to allow me to see each and every little push while I'm shrinking the interior part of the damage. Now at the same time, I don't want to put cornrows in it, so I'm going to be using this cross-checking light throughout the pushing process to keep my repair clean. So what I essentially have here is a close fog. I'm going to start it with a close fog. Once I get the stretch out of the bottom of that dent, the light goes back, My head goes down, we keep getting tighter and tighter to the panel. So you'll notice a lot of times when you work a dent like this, it starts to look good from this angle. You change your light, you move your light to a different angle, and you see all kinds of little ripples and waves, and you got to fight up little cornrows and holes. We're going to try to minimize that by using cross-checking while bringing up the damage. So this is exactly how I'm going to be pushing the dent out. I'm sitting here eye level to the damage. I'm going to be using my O-ring setup here. I'm going to slide my tool in here, and with the front of my hand, I'm going to hold the tip of the tool to keep it nice and steady while I do concentrated pushes on the bottom. I'm going to be right up here where I can actually see the very, very bottom of the dent and make small, methodical pushes, shrinking the damage. What you might not realize is that you may see little to no movement on the interior of the dent for quite a while. And I'm telling you, the stability on the side of this damage is going to make the dent come up much faster and much cleaner. I want you to take little pushes, trying not to apply pock marks into the center of the damage. Essentially, you're just cleaning up the bottom. You're trying to maintain the natural look of the paint, of the orange peel in the panel. So I'm taking it quite a bit from this one angle where I'm looking directly in the light that you're looking. Slowly bring out that core. Again, the thing that you're going to notice the most is how much faster these dents move when you have the stability technique working in your favor. The panel's not flimsy at all. It's like pushing hardened metal or gently molding a rail. So there's a certain threshold that you've got to actually move the light back. Not quite there yet. And this dent, all of this is being recorded in real time. So normally what it would take me to repair a dent this size, you're seeing it now. I would say now we're at a threshold where we can move the light back. All right, everybody, so now we're going to move in for a little bit of knockdown work. Another thing that you're going to notice when you begin to master these sharp tips is that you're not going to have near as much knockdown work. And the reason being is that it moves small increments of metal. So it's not over molding the surrounding perimeter. You're kind of like a sniper, and you're sniping little bitty spots while you're pushing the dent up. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in here and do a little bit of knockdown work. Now I'm actually looking into the light at this direction, doing a little bit of knockdown work at this direction. Now once I feel comfortable that the bottom has been absorbed out of the dent, we'll go ahead and we'll pull the prop rod and we'll take a look at the panel after it's been removed. Getting real close to that. We're also going to come along here and I'm going to show you kind of the angle that I'm cross-checking. So the entire time while I am working this dent up, my head is bouncing from one light to the other. All right, everybody, I believe that we have reached the moment that the prop rod can be pulled from the panel. So we'll go ahead and pull it out and we'll take a look and see what the damage looks like. As you can see, we're right through there. We've got the bottom out quite a bit. We're going to have to pick up some little bitty lows, but the dent is coming along really nice. So let's go ahead and pull our prop rod where we've got our tension hold right here off of the panel. All right, now let's jump up here and take a look at it. Definitely took out that little high spot. We've got just a little bit of orange peel that we're going to have to work there, and then we will be all finished up with this dent. All right, guys, so this right here is my new pushing angle. All we're going to have to do at this point is make some strategic pushes and finish the dent up. It may be hard to see in the camera, but one thing that I'm contending with here is that around the damaged area, there's kind of a subtle wave, a circular wave around here. Gonna have to tap that out. Very, very tough to see. In fact, most people wouldn't even notice it. But now you gotta remember, I had to push my light much, much further back. I've got it tight to the panel, and that is how I'm finishing. We no longer need that close fog that we did originally so we could see the bottom of the dent. So let's go ahead and keep on rolling on, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the mistakes that I see people make every day. Some of the common mistakes that I see quite a bit when it comes to not just oil can dents, but just dents in general, is that people begin to get comfortable with that close fog. Where you can see the very, very bottom of the dent. And then they're quite surprised when they take that fog away and they look in the natural reflection and there's a big wave in the panel that they could not see. The close fog is only designed to concentrate the bottom of the dent. After that, it's useless. In fact, there's a certain point that you would be wasting your time if you continued working the damage in that close fog. Now what you might notice is that I've got the bottom of the dent up the way that I wanted it. I have the pattern that I wanted in the bottom of the damage. And at that point, I had to put my light way, way back before I could notice small, subtle imperfections and waves. So that is always your finishing technique, and that's a mistake that I see people make all of the time. You can't get comfortable with your light up close. I know it's nice. I know your head's in a nice, comfortable position. But that's not how you finish a dent. In fact, it's going to slow you down in the long run. So as soon as you get the bottom of that dent up, don't get comfortable. Begin pushing that light back, moving it, twisting it, different angles. Get that tight reflective angle. Okay, so when we bring it up, we focus on that overhead angle, and then we push it back to get that tight reflective angle. And you know, that's one of the reasons why you really can't finish dents that well in shop lighting. Now you can use them overhead lights, them fluorescent bulbs, to pick the center of a dent out, but when it actually comes to finishing, you need that tight reflective angle. So don't ever get too comfortable. The moment you get too comfortable, I can almost guarantee that you're wasting time. All right guys, this right here is the subtle wave that I'm talking about. You can see the little high right on the edge of the ridge right there. So I'm going to have to go in and tap all of that down, and you might be surprised at how little we're going to have to push after getting rid of that, essentially a ring around the dent. right, everybody, so here it is, all finished up. Take a look at it from our cross-checking light. And there you have it.